Hello everyone, my name is Coletrain, and today we are going to be doing a passive run of all the levels in Cuphead in order to get the passive achievement and the cool grayscale filter. We're going to start off with level 1, Forest Follies. In a second I'm going to open up my inventory right here and I'll show you what I have equipped. The shots don't matter because we're not going to be killing anyone because it's a passive run. For Super Art, I'm going to be using Super Art 2 Invincibility because that's the only non-offensive Super Art, and it's going to be very important. For Charm, I'm going to be using the Smoke Bomb Invisidash. Now, I would use Whetstone because it would be very helpful, but if you use Whetstone, it counts as an attack, and that will ruin the passive run. So I find Invisidash to be the most helpful because it allows you to dash through enemies. Without further ado, let's get started. So this beginning part is very simple. You're just going to keep running forward and dash through any enemies that would hit you. That's the beauty of Invisidash, and that's why it's so helpful. Now, once you jump up onto this ledge, it's very basic. The most important advice I can give you is really just take your time, because a lot of the times it seems like you could rush through it and be fine, but if you take your time, it'll just make things so much more simple for you. And a lot of the time you can eliminate enemies by doing that as well, because Cuphead is a really, really helpful factor where once enemies run off screen, they kind of despawn, and so if you get enemies to leave the screen, you can kind of just not worry about them. Now watch out, those guys are going to run at you as soon as you jump, so you're going to watch out for that. Now this is the difficult part of this level. Past this ledge right here, there's going to be the Acorn Maker, which is an impassable boss. And in order to get past it, you have to wait for one of these mushrooms to sprout that parry ball that you see. And then you're going to wait for it to go, you're going to jump, dash, parry off of it, and then use your super in order to get over the Acorn Maker. Once you have your super popped, you're going to want to dash through this part as fast as possible to get to this ledge. Now you're just going to wait for the perfect moment. After that guy chomps, you're going to jump and dash, and then you're done. And that's level 1. You're going to see the stats here, and once it shows the grade, you're going to see that I get a grade of P. That means you did it correctly and you succeeded in your passive run. If you don't get a P grade, then you did something wrong, and maybe try killing less enemies. That's So we're going to move on to level 2. This level is called Treetop Trouble, and for this I'm going to be using the same setup: Super Art Invincibility, Charm, Smoke Bomb. So let's get started. Now, the most important thing to note for this map, especially for this first part, is you're going to have these little rolling bugs. The bouncy ones you can go under, but the ones on the ground you're going to just want to dash through. That makes it so much easier to deal with them. Watch out for them. It may look like they're going to fall in the hole, but they won't. They will jump over it, and they will kill you. So you're just going to keep proceeding like this, wait for the woodpecker to be done, and then you're just going to run under him. As long as you take your time and don't try to rush things, you should be fine. Now this part is also fairly simple. The flies you're going to want to watch out for. They do move in a predictable pattern, but you can lose track of them, so watch out for that. And then the tree trunks, all they do is shoot these spiky balls at you. The problem is you don't know which one's going to shoot one when, so you just want to watch, and once they shoot the ball is when you can really make your move. So moving on to this part, it's fairly simple, just platforming. Don't worry about these guys. Them dying does not ruin your passive run because they have to die. That's just the thing that happens. So this is the boss part, and what you're going to do is you're going to just jump up to this top leaf and dash over it. Now you can actually do that without taking damage. I just popped my dash too early, but it doesn't really matter because we're not going for perfect runs here, only for passive. So, and as you'll see, when it shows the grade, you get another grade of P, which means you succeeded in your passive run. Moving on to level 3. We're going to have to transverse from this world to the second world, so I'm going to take this time to point out the fact that I am not doing a perfect run of the levels. I'm not doing A+, so I'm not really worrying about my lives or about my health. I am going to release perfect runs later if you would like to check out those videos when they get released. So here we are, we have arrived at level 3, which is called Funfair Fever. I'm going to change it up a little bit here. I'm still using the same super, but for charm, I'm going to be using Coffee, which allows your meter to autofill, because I'm going with a little bit of a different approach to this level. There is another way to do it, but I'll explain that later. So at the start, you're going to have this place in the tent with the balloons, and the balloons can be really annoying, especially with the trampoline. So my suggestion is you just first, the most important thing you're going to want to do is wait for a pink balloon and parry it 5 times, because surprisingly, parrying a pink balloon doesn't blow it up, and it also will completely fill your super meter every time you parry it. For the rest of the balloons, you're just going to want to stand on top of those walls and jump over them when you can. Like I said, I'm not going for a perfect run, so things like that are okay. Just, again, try not to get hit too many times, because you will eventually die. So this right here is going to be the first time you're going to want to pop your super, and after you do it, you're going to go through the robots, and you're just going to want to dash as fast as you can to the end. You see I kind of just made it there, so you're going to want to be as fast as possible. So here's where the long part of this level comes. Because this is why you're using the Coffee Charm, once you get here, you're just going to want to sit on this podium because you can't get attacked, and you're going to wait until your super fills, as you will see will happen shortly. Once your super's full, you're going to want to watch out for his attacks and just dash over the clown heads to get to this next boss, which is when you're going to use your super for the second time. Once you're safely past this boss, you're just going to sit on the other side of him and, surprise, surprise, wait for your super to autofill. Once that super is full, you're going to move up to these platforms, and this is where it can get rather difficult platforming-wise. The one downside of doing this method is the hot dog will start shooting his condiments before you go onto the platform. Usually it would happen around now, but you have to deal with them the whole time. They're fairly easy to dodge, but they can get annoying. I died a few times to those. You see, I kind of messed up there because I got worried. So just take your time. That's the most important thing here is you're going to want to wait for the perfect moment to jump. When you usually want to jump over the pretzels is when you are at the top of your cycle and the pretzels jump. That way they won't jump up and hit you in the air, kind of like right there. See how they were down when I jumped over them? That makes it so much easier to clear them, and you don't have to worry about your health at that point. So you're just going to want to keep dodging the condiments and jumping over the pretzels whenever you can until you reach the end, which is right here. In which case you're just going to pop your super again and use your invincibility to get past the hot dog, and bravo! You've completed the 3rd level completely passive without killing any bosses. And as you will see, you should once again get a grade of P, as long as you didn't kill anyone and didn't use whetstone. Now, I think it is important to preface this. If you don't like waiting so long for the coffee and you feel like you have the skill to do it, there is another way to complete this level. It is a little more difficult, and the way you can do it is by, instead of using the coffee charm, you use the smoke bomb again. Now, the reason this is difficult is because you can't use the smoke bomb to completely bypass the 2 unpassable bosses, so you have to get a perfect run up to them so that you can take the damage and get past them. That is the end of part 1. See you next time. See you next time.